too much life in the moment is the truth. So yes, I am driving. I wanted to get started early this morning. I'm not that far from the house. I've done my morning phone calls that I do in the morning typically. So, but I want to talk about reviving our soul. That's kind of the conversation today. It's going to be a quick one. I'm just sandwiching this in because as normal things go, life is just busy like that. So the only way I'll end up cutting this video short is if for some reason traffic requires, but I'm pretty close to the house. But I wanted to get started. I will probably be off here by 8:30 today, just for the things. So the things going on. So today's things going on. I'm working with a panel of people that we're doing some judging on some grading on some stuff that's coming through. So that, and I'll be doing that all week. So Thursday will be a little bit off too. It's going to be not your typical Thursday view or Mama Chat either. So if you're new to my channel, if you've not been here before, you're catching Mama Chat for the strange, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And what I try to do, and I just want to talk about this real quick. My goal with my channel has evolved kind of over the years. And I'm inconsistent. My ADHD and my life with 6 kids, I can be inconsistent sometimes. And one of the things I've been trying to commit to is consistency with putting out and definitely doing Mama Chat as a consistency. My goal is just encouragement from the trenches of motherhood, because man, oh man, I needed it. I needed encouragement. I had 10 straight years of postpartum anxiety that didn't really let up between the times. And I didn't realize what it was until the end. I didn't realize that's why I was overwhelmed. That's why I was anxious all the time. That's why my body crashed and I was exhausted. That's why I had no energy, because I wasn't ever depressed. And so, and a lot of people got kind of finicky with me because they're like, well, why didn't you do this? And why are you, what? And I'm like, I knew I had postpartum of some method. And I'm like, I have postpartum, I can't. You're making that up. You're not depressed. And I wasn't depressed. I had postpartum anxiety. And in the course of 10 years, I had 6 children. So there might have been some sense of I feel normal again, or I'm regaining myself again. And I would be pregnant, and I wanted to be pregnant. It wasn't that I didn't want to be pregnant. I wanted to have my children, and that was a necessity, but I wasn't sure, about it drained me. And I'm going to tell you, my youngest turns 6 next month, in about a month. And in about a month, I'll be 43. And I'm finally finding the light, the energy at the end of the day. And one of the hard parts is, especially with me, I'm a high energy person, but I don't know that person anymore. And I'm kind of hoping my high energy self would come back, but there's no guarantee. I hold out hope because I feel a little bit of that every day as I move away from being pregnant. And it's been 6 years since I've been pregnant, and I'm much better than what I used to be, but at the same time, I'm still not there. And if I really think about I'm thinking about right now, 10 years to deplete my system so much, it will take 10 years to bring it back. So at 47, right, I should have that energy back. But then I'll be 47, so we'll see how that goes. So you never know. But why do I tell you that? But that's why I created this channel, because I was isolated, and I had a bunch of little kids, that it was on me. My husband worked all the time. The little bit of family I had was too busy. And they thought I was nuts. They thought I was nuts. So any adventure I do, I try to share it with you, because I know that there's probably somebody in the same situation that doesn't want to feel isolated, or is considering something. Like, we all are different, and we all have our different interests, and we have the different things that drive you and focuses you. I talk a lot on my channel about homeschooling, because that's been a major focus for so long. And I know there's so many mamas that have been helped by the fact that I can't stick to one curriculum, so at least I spent the money. I looked at it, and let me tell you about it, and you see if it works for you. And some of that is because I was always looking for the perfect fit. And I think I was looking for the perfect fit because I was tired. And anything that took me on energy, or anything that felt like a stumbling block, I was too exhausted to figure out how to make it work. And I was too tired to figure out how to make it work. So find something else. I had seasons of just trying to find my identity and putting it in. Finding my identity, that I would be able to just find me again. Those years can be dark. And I hate to say dark, because they didn't feel dark, but they felt isolating. I remember, and I've talked about this the other day, I remember just wanting to connect and be on the phone with somebody. And being on the phone with somebody, and my kids are screaming in the background or making noise, and I'm like, I'm good. I've learned to tune it out. And that person's just like, I don't want to be on the phone with you if you got a baby going on in the background. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I was taken back, and I was really kind of hurt. I hate to say it, I was very hurt by it. Not that, because not that person was being cruel. To be honest with you, now that I don't listen to screaming babies all day long, I understand where she was coming from. But it hurt me so much because I felt that wedge of distance. I remember at one point, so I'd come to Christ right before I got married. And I think I was 21, 22. And like, in that place of being home, being isolated, I wasn't turning to Jesus at all. I wasn't focused on him whatsoever. I was just in the function of survival. And in saying that, I also was in a place that I was in a place where it's like I was just trying to survive. But in that isolation, the devil lies to you. And when you're alone and you're not focused on Jesus, you start to believe the lies. You start to believe the lies. And, so I had a pretty highs and lows, and being exhausted into that point is there. But I just want to say, like, that's why those years is why I want to pour out, is why I want to be on YouTube and share the things that I honestly don't want to talk to my local people about. I want to, I I like sharing it with you. I'm not really eager to share them always locally with my whatever, except for those that I see. Like, I'll tell you what, a lot of times, having had anxiety postpartum so badly, I can spot a woman with postpartum, and I can spot a woman with postpartum and her child is a toddler or 4 years old. I get it. I get what it does to you. I get how your eyes do this, because one of the big things that when I was exhausted that I would do, that always blew my mind that I was doing it, I would be in the kitchen. And I mean, I have vivid memories of this. I would be in the kitchen and I would, you're looking for something, right? You're just looking for something. So I would be in the kitchen and I would turn to my left and it wasn't there, and I would turn to my left and it wasn't there, and I would turn to my left and it wasn't there, and it's like, well, I'll turn to my left, it's going to be there, and I'll turn to my left, it's going to be there. And what I'll realize I was doing was I was actually spinning in a circle. Like I'd made 2 or 3 laps in a circle, not fast by any means, but I was spinning. And I've come to realize, like, I know when I'm exhausted because I spin, and I would just keep turning around, and I'm like, I remember being like, I need to stop. I am spinning out of control. I'm spinning. And it's just like, take a breath. Just stop. Just stop. Take a breath. You're spinning. So that's why I'm here. There's my 12 minutes of why I do the things I do. And if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button. I don't flood YouTube like I used to. I'm not in the season to have time to do that. But I do. So hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for when, if you want to hit my lives. I typically go live Monday morning and Thursday morning, somewhere between 8 and 9:30. So I'm much earlier. So my normal people are going to be a bit like, what happened here? Why are you so early? I missed my morning with Trish. And we have good conversations that go back and forth. So I want to tell you what happened. So I want to tell you what happened this weekend. And I want to tell you, sorry, I just got word that somebody that had been fighting COVID had passed away locally. I want to tell you what happened this weekend. I went to a retreat. And I'm going to give you, it's That Farm Charm, that, THAT, Farm Charm, CHARM. She's on Facebook. She does live Facebook. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Yep. And so That Farm Charm, and I'm going to tell you, if you're broken, get on Facebook. She goes live every morning, about 6 days a week. And she deals with really hard things with the love of Jesus. And she's going to love you like Jesus loves you. Like, I love you like Jesus loves you. I love you. And so I went to a retreat, a women's retreat. And in the women's retreat, we had the woman from That Farm Charm speak and discuss what God has done in her testimony. And we had a couple women come up and give their testimony. And one was heartbreaking, where she recounted the scarring of sin over and over and over again, and how she kind of came to Christ, and yet she fell right back in. And yet now she knew the sin and felt the sin like she never had before, and yet dug herself deeper in drugs and everything else to numb it more than what she was doing. And discussing like the abortion she had, the drugs that she did, being pregnant and going to jail. She laid it out. And it got to the point, like, I know this woman. I know this woman. I didn't know that was her story. I'm talking about all the time she almost died. And yet, it literally was like shredding my heart. You know, like, I'm expecting some, but when you realize, like, the portion, oh, I'm so sorry. Darcy, I'm so sorry. It began to just shred my heart because it was so much. And she gets up and she's just like, and I didn't mean to come in here crying, but apparently it's an emotional day. Well, it is an emotional day, but it's more than I can hold. She gets up there and she says, listen to me. You want to bring people to Christ? You want to show them Jesus? Tell them your story. Give them your testimony. Because Jesus is still the miracle worker. He is still the one performing miracles. Because listen, without Jesus, people don't change. They don't change. Habits are hard to break. And when you meet somebody who is new in Christ, they're different. So it's really funny how it worked out. So yes, Saturday was a full women's retreat, and I literally was on the fence about going. There's so much stuff I want to do here. You know, I haven't gardened enough, and I want to go get dirt, and I want to get my gardens going. And even the night before, yes, Jesus is gracious and merciful. Even the night before, I was like, man, I'm going to tell you why I ended up going. Now, granted, I've been lukewarm, and you would think because I've been sitting there dealing with myself being lukewarm that I would be like, let's go. No, because I'm a recovering lukewarmer. And being a recovered lukewarmer, I can fall back into being lukewarm. I'm trying not to, but I could fall back. And I decided I would go to the retreat because I'm lonely and I feel isolated amongst women. That was what God used to drag me along. And I'm like, okay, I'll go. Social fellowship was rocking. Everything I need. I am a highly social person. I like to go and bury myself and be alone and quiet. But the part I miss the most about teaching at the middle school is dealing with 100 people every day. I loved it. Loved it so much. Like, it is so hard being away from those children. I loved it. I mean, I dealt with 10 adults, but I dealt with 100 children every day, and I loved it. And so I went there, and I loved it. It was that social part I needed. But at the same time, the things that hit home was to give your testimony. Well, number one, make Jesus first. And I've dealt with, listen, y'all, my mouth is probably why I like YouTube, because you may turn me off, but I don't know. And I'm not being asked to leave. I just don't know if you leave. And that works for me because I've been told to leave. I've been told to leave multiple times. And it boggles me. Usually it's because I've said something that somebody doesn't want to hear. And I didn't say it mean. And listen, my ADHD will say some stuff without thinking, and I know that, and the Lord has made me a great apologizer to grovel and weep about my sin to the person I've done it to because of my mouth. And it's so funny because it's so hard. I'm not manipulative. I'm not, but my mouth will ruin so many friendships unintentionally, not because I don't love them. And usually I'm in shock. And I just had an incident, kicked out of another homeschool group because of my mouth. It's fine. And I come to realize, like, the Lord just needed to use that. And he needed to use that in me. And I bet he's using it in something with somewhere else. And that's not where I needed to be. So I don't have any problems with that. But when it happened, it hurt. And what do you want to do? Call your friend. Call your sister. Call your mama. Call everybody. And like, what do you do when you call them? You want to justify your feelings. You want to justify your actions. You want to justify what? That you're not a sinner? That you didn't sin in that situation? That you were right? Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. God shut every door for me to call. Well, not every door. Probably my most important door that was there and was going to justify me in this action. He might have shut it permanently. I don't know. But you know where I didn't want to go? I didn't want to pray about it. I didn't want to talk to Jesus about it. I didn't want to go put my heart there and say, you heal this. I didn't want to do any of that. No, that doesn't justify me. I'm going to have to deal with my sin. And it really hit home, just, am I putting Jesus first? Do I pursue him in each and everything? So, I got that part. And then I got the part about, are we evangelizing? Are we loving our neighbor? So see, it's still in the same theme. Am I loving my neighbor? Am I going out and rescuing my neighbor? I mean, I can't do it. It's God, but I have to be the messenger. And so they're giving their testimony, and it hit me because there's something I forgot. Because I get to the point, I'm like, I've been a Christian now almost as long as I was not a Christian. I'm right there. And I'm like, I don't know what it is I need to tell them. I'm like, because I just want to be like, don't you get it? You need him. You should want him. You're going to love him. It changes your life every day. And I was sitting there listening to that testimony of these women talking about not having Jesus, but knowing God is real. And I realized in that I forgot who I was before Christ. I forgot who I was. And I forgot who I was because I've been healed over who I was. I'm not going to get into my whole testimony. But I was not somebody you'd want to be around. And I was not somebody you'd want your children to be around. And I was somebody your mama warned you about because I was trouble. Because I was looking for love. I just wanted to be loved. And I wanted everything to numb the feeling of not being loved. I wanted to feel wanted. I came from a broken home. And I came from a home that was broken, that was already broken from their religious experiences in the church that they were in. It's both my mom's family and my dad's